Reading FC are on the brink of expulsion from the Football League despite sitting 7th in the League One table and have a real good chance of getting into the playoffs this season. This is all thanks to the disgrace of an owner, Dia Yongge. His reign of terror over Reading Football Club has been enabled by the English Football League, who have now set a deadline of the 2nd of May for Reading to find a new owner, otherwise they will face expulsion from the Football League. That's right, the people who authorised Dia Yongge to buy Reading Football Club are now punishing the club for Dia Yongge's horrific ownership capabilities. Please never change English Football League. So today I want to lift the mood amongst Reading fans as we will be taking over the club with the end goal of winning them a Champions League trophy. However, due to circumstances in real life, we will not be able to sign any players, cash fees in this rebuild. We'll only be able to use youth academy players and free agents. This could be a very challenging rebuild. But let's now jump into FC25 and save Reading FC. So this is the Reading team we have loaded into an FC25, and it's quite a bizarre team on paper, to be honest, as we've got some really good players in this team and some players who aren't quite at League One level in FC25. I just want to point out though that this team pretty much all made up of frees and loans. They are actually 7th in League One, 72 points, really close to getting into the playoffs. Personally, being a Bolton fan who've spent millions on our squad and who already can't get playoffs, I'll be supporting Reading if they get into the playoffs. I really hope they go up. But the best player at the club is Lewis Wing, who's an excellent player at League One level. He's 29-year-old and 70 rated. He does have a lot of play styles. He's not going to get much better and he's not someone that we need to be building the team around. But Reading do actually have some really good young players like Amadou Mbenge, 22-year-old 68 rated centre-back, Charlie Savage, a 21-year-old 66 rated centre midfielder, and Kelvin Ahmed Hathobian is a great player as well, 21-year-old 65 rated, but for the purposes of this rebuild we're just going to call him Kelvin. Now Reading do also have Tyler Bindon on their books, but he's only on loan from Nottingham Forest. He is one of the best centre-backs in League One. We've used him loads in FC25. A real shame we aren't going to get to keep him beyond this season. And do you know what, lads? I do actually like this formation and we are going to stick with it. I am going to make 1 or 2 changes to the starting personnel. And without any new incomings, this is going to be the Reading team that takes us into season number 1. It's a really strong team on paper and it's full of young players, might I add. The oldest player in this starting 11 is 28-year-old and we've got a lot of players under 23. Very exciting times ahead for Reading if we can get these young lads growing. How do I want to play with Reading? Well, I want to focus on a wing player tactical preset, as our wingers are really good, our fullbacks are good as well. I think we're probably best off focusing on getting the ball to them. Hopefully they'll make something happen for us. Now very surprisingly, Reading actually start off with £2 million in the bank. Obviously they don't have this money in real life thanks to their disgrace of an owner, so I think we've probably got room to make 1 new signing in season 1, and it's obvious where we need to improve the team. Got to bring a striker to the club. Jaden Worham is 61 rated and 21-year-old, someone we can probably send out on loan this season, just not really cut out for League One football in FC25. I know he's quite good in real life, so we're going to scour the free agents list, bring a new striker in, hopefully give us a chance of getting in the playoffs in FC25. And lads, these are all the free agent strikers we've got available to us. I really don't think we're going to be able to afford the wages for a lot of these players, bearing in mind I want to get my youth scouts out scouting as well this season, as youth scouting is going to be a massive part of this rebuild. Got to bring some coaches in, we'll have contracts to renew. I'm just going to say there's going to be no signings in season 1. I was hoping there'd be a cheap option out there on the free agents list and there just isn't. However, one thing Reading do have going for them in real life is that they have got a really good academy, and we are starting off with 3 players in our academy who are excellent. James Lee's a goalkeeper, Elijah Gibbs, who looks incredible, 66 rated already with 70 to 94 potential. He's actually going to go straight into the starting 11. You also have Jack Stubbs, who's got 70 to 94 potential, who will need a little bit more time to develop. I'm actually going to throw Lees and Gibbs straight into our starting 11 and get them growing as quick as possible. But for season 1, we're just going to focus on scouting England, as it's very cheap to scout England, and our primary focus will be bringing striker or centre back into the football club. So this starting 11 is now locked in for season 1 heading into the League One season. Reading are really in with a shout of getting playoffs in real life. I would love us to get playoffs in game, but I don't really think it's going to happen. Anywhere above mid-table will be good for me, and getting some youth players developed to be really good as well. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 1, see how we get on with Reading. So we have arrived at the end of season number 1, and unfortunately for Royals fans, we finished 7th in League One. on 67 points, 2 points off 6th place Wrexham. But I really hope I haven't jinxed Reading in real life and they actually finish 7th in real life. Hopefully you do get into the playoffs. What does this mean for us? It means once again next season we will be playing League One football, but there are reasons to be positive this season. Now, we're not going to go over the cup competitions. We got knocked out in the first round in both of them, but as you can see looking at our starting 11, there's been significant growth all across the pitch, and there's actually quite a few youth team players now in our starting 11. That's right, 5 players graduated our academy this season and are now in our starting 11. First of which is James Lees, a 17-year-old 70 rated goalkeeper who's an exciting prospect. We've also got Elijah Gibbs, 18-year-old 70 rated left back who's showing great potential. Add into that mix Jackson Hilton, a 17-year-old 67 rated exciting prospect centre back. We've also got Elliot Hobson, 17-year-old 68 rated attacking midfielder who's showing great potential, and striker Freddie Bullock, 18-year-old 66 rated, showing great potential. That's 5 players who've graduated the Reading Academy this season, and they make our team significantly stronger. As you can see, we've moved Nibs out to the right wing, and he's been a great player for us this season. I think heading into season number 2 though, all our focus is just on improving these players, because after Harvey Nibs, who's 26, the next oldest player in our team is Mbenge at 23. And don't forget, we will be scouting again next season, and we may be able to add 1 or 2 free agents to this team. Genuinely think next season we've got a great chance of getting promoted to the Championship. And our best 2 players this season were Harvey Nibs and Habib Haptomian, both got 18 goals. Freddie Bullock was fantastic though in his first senior season, getting 14 goals and 2 assists in 33 games. He is definitely someone to keep our eye on in the future. So we've arrived in season number 2. We've got £4 million in the bank, which is a very good budget. And our first order of business of season number 2 is to get our youth scouts scouting. Today we are going with this comment. We are going to be sending our youth scouts off to Greece to look for central midfielders and fullbacks. And we have had a scour of the free agents list, but I didn't want to bring anyone in. Any player that we did find was aging and not a massive improvement on the players we've already got. I'd rather give our current players minutes as they've got high potential. Hopefully I'm not regretting this decision come the end of the season. But we do have a few contracts to renew this season, lads, and I may even look to start loaning some players out, try and aid with their development. So lads, we have had a busy transfer window. Obviously no one's joined the club, and I promise you this isn't Dia Yongge asset stripping the club. We've sold 2 players who I didn't think had a future at Reading, Jarell Dorset and Akshkar Ahmed, sold for a combined 1.1 million. We've then loaned out quite a few young players who won't really get much minutes with us this season, so we've decided to send them all out on 1-year loans. Hopefully when they come back they're good enough to push for a first team place, because if not they ultimately may be sold. So ultimately there's not been much change to our starting 11 in season number 2. We have got a much more focused approach on developing our current players. We have got our youth scouts out scouting Greece. We're going to let them do their thing. Hopefully come the end of the season they've found us some unbelievable talents. So this starting 11 is now locked in for season number 2. There's not a lot more we can do but simulate forward straight through to the end of the season. Hopefully come May, Reading are a Championship side. Well, we've arrived at the end of season number 2, lads, and next season we will be playing Championship football, as we have finished 2nd in League One on 106 points, 3 points behind eventual winners Sheffield Wednesday, who got 109 points. That is ridiculous. We were 26 points clear of 3rd place Wrexham. We have been insane this season, and hats off to Sheffield Wednesday for getting 109 points. Now it's time to get stuck into Championship. Now we didn't do too well in the FA Cup or League Cup, but we did get to the BSM Trophy semi-finals where we lost to Oxford United on penalties, so I'm sure this is a little bit of a derby, so I'm sorry we couldn't beat them, Reading fans. So the Championship, our team is looking quality on paper. We've got players in this team who could potentially play in the Premier League in Lees and Mbenge and Ebap Tomian, and the beautiful thing about this as well, lads, is these players will just keep on developing. With the squad is so young, we've got loads of players out on loan developing. I'm not worried at all about next season. However, we will have a scour of the free agents list just to see if there's anyone worth signing, but heading into the Championship I'm 100% confident this team will be nowhere near the relegation zone, and we could maybe have potentially one eye on the Championship playoff places, as our youth academy is absolutely stacked full of talent. So right back here in Papadopoulos, who I might even put straight into the first team of, who's 80 to 86 potential, 17-year-old 67 rated. We have got an incredible central midfielder, Athanasios Samaras, who is 63 rated, 17-year-old, and got 89 to 94 potential. Can't lie, lads, I might even just throw him straight into the starting 11. Now in terms of stats, Freddie Bullock was our best player this season. He got 26 goals and 4 assists. Elvin had a great season as well, getting 23 goals and 4 assists, and so did Elliot and Harvey Nibs. This team is just going from strength to strength, and I've got no doubt it will continue to do the same in the Championship next season. So we have arrived in Season 3 and our first season back in the Championship as Reading boss. We've got £8 million sitting in our bank account. We will have a look through the free agents list, but to be honest with you boys, I don't really think we need to bring any free agents in. We've got a squad absolutely full of high potential youngsters who are just getting better and better. I think we should maybe focus on just getting these lads more minutes, getting the youth players we've just promoted out on loan, and let's just see where the wind takes us this season. I don't think we're going to bring a free agent in who massively improves our team. I'd rather just develop our players. This rebuild is very slowly turning into a youth academy only rebuild. So we are once again faced with the task of sending our youth scouts out to find us some young talent, and this season we are going with this comment. We are going to be sending our youth scouts off to Hungary. Just want to say a massive thank you, because I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of these player names. But hopefully we can find the next Dominic Szoboszlai over in Hungary, as we are going to be looking for strikers, centre-backs, central midfielders and attacking midfielders anywhere through the centre of the pitch. But lads, a big decision is being made before we enter into season number 3. Harvey Nibbs is the best player at Reading Football Club, 27-year-old, 74 rated, who can play a whole host of positions. However, we have got a young lad, Sam Jacobs, out on loan at Darmstadt, who is 18-year-old and 71 rated, who has got amazing potential. I personally feel for his development, the best thing we can do now is recall him and throw him straight into our starting 11 and use Harvey Nibbs as a weapon from the bench. I do just want to keep focusing on growing our young players, and Jacobs could potentially be a 90 rated plus player. But lads, we have once again had quite a busy transfer window, but we've been loaning out our young players. Once again, these lads are mainly going out on 2-season loans. Hopefully when they come back, they're pushing for a first team place. We are going to be paying really close attention though to Athanasios Samaras and Stefanos Papadopoulos, as these are two players who I can really see being in the first team in not much time, to be honest. Hopefully they can grow by like 4 or 5 overalls on their respective loans, and then we can get them straight into our starting 11. And with that, our starting 11 is locked in for season number 3, our first in the Championship. Our only change is Nibbs is out for Jacobs. The team's growing so well, lads, I can't make any changes. I think we've got an outside shot of getting into the playoffs this season. This is a very strong team for Championship level, with players who are still developing. Could be in for a very successful season with Reading. The only way to find out if it is a successful season though is by simulating forward straight through until the end of the season. Let's see what our young side can do in the Championship. So we have arrived at the end of season number 3, lads, and it has been an interesting season, and we have finished second in the Championship, boys, meaning in season 4 Reading will be a Premier League side. I'm really impressed with our season. 95 points accumulated. We finished 4 points clear, third place Ipswich Town. We only lost 5 games all season. Season 4 we have actually got Reading back to the Premier League. Now might be the time where we need to bring some free agents into the club to help fill out the squad. But before we check the squad, we have had a really good run in the FA Cup, getting to the quarterfinals where we lost to Luton Town 1-0. And with the teams who were still left in the FA Cup, we have missed out on a really big chance to actually win this competition this year. Now, the starting 11 heading into the Premier League is looking really good when you consider all these players are very young and still developing. We've had another excellent season in terms of development all across the pitch, with Lees becoming our first 80 plus rated player at 82 rated. However, the rest of the squad really isn't looking that strong outside of the starting 11. Now, we have got some really exciting young players out on loan, and some of which may come straight into our starting 11 next season, but I do think we're going to have to bring some free agents in season number 4 to help fill out the quality of our bench, because this is not a Premier League quality bench. There's only 2 players on our bench above 70 rated, so hopefully there's some good options on the free agents list in season number 4. But there are some young players out on loan who could be put into the first team. Papadopoulos is 71 rated and 18-year-old. We know he's got good potential, and Athanasios Samaras has grown by 9 overalls. He is now 72 rated at 18-year-old. I'm going to let him have a couple more months out at Lugano, but it's highly likely I'm going to recall him and put him straight into our starting 11 for season number 4. But in terms of stats, Freddie Bullock is going from strength to strength, 23 goals and 13 assists. Jacobs and Ebert Hatterman were brilliant as well, getting 19 goals and 10 assists each. So we have arrived in season number 4. Reading are back in the Premier League, and we've got 35 million in the bank. It's a shame we can't actually spend this money to sign some players for cash fees, but we will have a scour of the free agents list to bring some backup players into the club. And lads, today is the day Athanasios Samaras has rejoined the club. He has potential to be special. He is going to go into our starting 11 in place of Charlie Savage. So lads, for the first time in this rebuild, we have actually made 3 signings from the free agents list, and we've actually made 3 really solid signings who make our bench better. First player we signed was Max Aarons. He's 27-year-old, 75 rated. He is a right back with decent stats. He'll be a great option off the bench. And the same can be said for Jorge Hernando, who we signed. He's 26-year-old, 76 rated with really decent stats, centre-back, and he'll be a good centre-back at that. And the marquee signing we made for season number 4 is a backup striker, Ellis Sims, 76 rated, 26-year-old, 6'3" with really decent stats. Different option to Bullock up front. I'm sure he'll chip in with a few goals this season. I know while there are some players on that bench who admittedly aren't good enough, we do have good options. Sims, Nibs, Savage, Harando, Aarons, all good options who can come on, give us a boost if we're losing the game or need to find a goal. There'll be no changes to our starting 11, which is locked in for the new season. We're going to be keeping a keen eye on the likes of Samaras, Hilton and Jacobs' development this season, as they're all players who could reach 90 rated. And once again, we're set with the task of sending our youth scouts out to one of your recommendations. And for this season, we are going with this comment. We are sending our youth scout off to Papua New Guinea. Now, I don't know of any professional players who've ever come from Papua New Guinea. So as well as bringing a few players in, we have let a few players go. Kelvin Abrifa and Tivonge Rushefa have left the club for a combined 1.5 million. We've also sent out a really promising young Hungarian on loan to Swansea. Hopefully he'll come back ready for first team football. But to be honest with you boys, I don't really think there's much more we can do this season but simulate forward straight through to the end of the season, see if we can in fact survive in the Premier League. So we have arrived at the end of the season, lads, and I asked the players to just keep us in the Premier League this season. They have actually achieved a 9th placed finish on 57 points. I think they were only 6 points off a Conference League spot, achieving a top half finish in our first season back in the Premier League. That is insane, and we have set real foundations to build on heading into season 5. However, we wouldn't have a good run in the FA Cup, only reaching the 4th round and getting knocked out by Bournemouth 3-2. I was hoping to go a little bit further this year, but looking at that starting 11, we have got so many reasons to be optimistic heading forward. We've got an 87 rated goalkeeper who is only 20 years old and could actually be the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. The oldest player in our team is 25 years old, and that's Elliot in central midfield. We've got a whole host of players who've now reached 80 rated. We've also got a strong bench heading into season number 5. Could maybe do with looking at the free agents list to bring in a better option than Lewis Wing, but this squad is definitely a top half Premier League level squad. I think if this team keeps developing at the rate that it currently is, we could definitely be competing in Europe by the end of next season. Now, in terms of stats, it was actually Kelvin who was our best player this season, getting 21 goals and 3 assists, but Jacobs and Bullock had really good seasons as well. They both got 18 goals. Not many goals from the rest of the squad, and Hobson had a very poor season, only scoring twice and getting 6 assists. He could be someone we look to move on in the future. However, most of our young, exciting cams are out on loan. So we have arrived in season 5 and we've only been given £26 million, which doesn't really matter. This is more than enough to bring a free agent into the club and get our youth scouts out scouting again. So heading into the new season, lads, we have made one new signing. Carlos Dotter joins us on a 4-year deal. He's 27-year-old, 77 rated, can play all across the centre of midfield, and he is going to take Lewis Wing's place on the bench heading into season 5. This will be the only free agent signing we make heading into the new season. But before we head into the new season, lads, we have got a little bit of thinking to do. Amadou Mbenge is 26 years old and 80 rated, and it's a first choice centre-back for us at the club. However, we have got a really promising young centre-back, Gabor Ziga, who is 18-year-old, 71 rated, and this guy is also potential to be special. I'm just thinking, do we take the hit and throw him straight into the starting 11 instead of loaning him out this season? I feel like if we throw him in the starting 11, he could grow by like 4 or 5 overalls this season, and within 2 seasons could be well above 80 rated. Just thinking, is it worth dropping Mbenge down to the bench and just seeing how Ziga does in the team next to Hilton? I think we're actually going to do this, boys. Mbenge is the much better player out of the two, and I fully get where you're coming from. But Ziga has got unbelievable potential, and I feel like loaning him out is only going to grow by 1 or 2 overalls. If we get him straight into our starting 11, get him playing football week in, week out in the Premier League, within 2 seasons, he'll be well above Mbenge. This season, we are once again sending out our youth scouts, but this time we're going to go to England again, as that's where we've had the best success in this rebuild. And when we're in England, we'll be looking for central midfielders and strikers. Now, lads, there will be some outgoings in this window, but they'll mainly be youth players going out on loan. That means our starting 11 is locked in for the new season. Hopefully Ziga proves me right and grows loads this season, and we have got a very, very strong bench heading into the 5th season. And with that being said, lads, I don't really think there's much more we can do but simulate forward straight through to the end of the season. It's another season where we're primarily focusing on developing our players, but I do think we can get into Europe as well. But we've arrived at the end of the season, lads, and it's once again progress on the pitch as we have finished 6th in the Premier League on 60 points, only 5 points off Champions League football. However, I do think finishing 6th in the Premier League means we will be in the Conference League next season, and to be honest with you, I think that's a competition we could go on and win. In the FA Cup though, lads, we would be absolutely humiliated by League One Lincoln. They beat us 2-1 and knocked us out in the first round. However, we would make up for it in the Carabao Cup as we would go on to win the competitions, adding a Carabao Cup to our trophy cabinet, beating Bromley in the final 4-0. Do you know what? The FIFA gods definitely smiled down on us there, but I'm not complaining. That's a Carabao Cup added to our trophy list. Now, I think that could mean we're actually in the Europa League next season. So European football is on the cards for Reading next season, and looking at our starting 11, we are definitely in a position to compete in Europe. We've got a 91 rated goalkeeper in Leeds who could be one of the best in the world. Our front three is looking very, very strong on the left-hand side of the team. Gibbs, Hilton and Samaras are really strong as well. Ziger and Papadopoulos are still growing. Ziger's grown by 4 overalls this season, so I'm not too concerned about him at the minute. I may have a look through the free agents list when we get into season number 6, see if there's anyone who can come in. But I am really happy with the overall development of this team, and I'm hopeful players like Ziger and Papadopoulos come the end of season 6 will be well above 80 rated. Now, in terms of stats, our front three were excellent once again. Kelvin got 22 goals, Bullock got 21 goals and 11 assists, and Jacobs got 18 goals and 14 assists. Really, really impressive performance by our front three. Hopefully they can carry that on over into season number 6. So we've arrived in season number 6, lads. We've got 29 million in the bank. Thankfully, we won't be reliant on this budget to meet our goals this season, as this is another really, really poor budget. And lads, after having an in-depth scour of the free agents list, we have made 2 signings which I think massively improve our team. First signing we made was a central midfielder, Ebenezer Akinsanmario. He is 24 years old and 80 rated with amazing stats. He signs on a 4-year deal and he will be our new first choice central midfielder to partner Samaras. And as we know, we are lacking an attacking midfielder, and while we do have good, decent young players out on loan, we have just found Carlos Guzman on the free agents list. He is 19 years old, 80 rated, showing great potential with amazing stats. He is so far ahead of every other centre attacking midfielder at our club. He will be our first choice attacking midfielder going forward. And with Akinsanmario and Guzman added to our team, everyone in the starting 11 besides Ziger and Papadopoulos are above 80 rated. We've got an amazing team to take into the Europa League, and I'm hopeful this team can get Champions League football this season. This starting 11 is now locked in for season number 6. We've got a very strong team. All eyes are just focusing on Ziger and Papadopoulos' development. The bench is very, very strong with Hobson and Elliott dropping down, and I think heading into season number 6 we are looking very, very strong on paper. There's nothing left we can do but simulate forward straight through to the end of the season. Hopefully we can have a really good run in the Europa League, and hopefully come the end of the season we are a Champions League level side. So we have arrived at the end of season number 6, lads, and Champions League football is awaiting Reading FC. We've finished 2nd in the league on 75 points, 6 points off eventual winners Chelsea, who were deserved winners. We were also joint top scorers in the division, getting 74 goals, and in season number 7, Reading will be in the Champions League. We would make the quarterfinals of the FA Cup this year, but get beaten by Crystal Palace 4-2, and we also would not retain our Carabao Cup crown. But the season's big disappointment would come in the Europa League, as we would only get to the round of 16, but we would be beaten 2-0 over 2 legs by Stuttgart. Looking at the teams who were left in the competition, I think we've missed a really good chance to actually win a European trophy here. However, heading into season number 7, we have genuinely got a world-class team on paper. This starting 11 is absolutely full of world-class players. Ziger has grown by another 4 overalls. He's now 79 rated, and at 20-year-old, he can continue that rate of development. He'll be 84 rated by the end of next season, which is perfectly fine with me. We've also got a 93 rated goalkeeper in Leeds, who I'm willing to bet is the best goalkeeper in the game right now. We've also got a really strong bench and plenty of options in our reserves. We've actually built a really, really good squad. I think heading into the Champions League, we're going to be a real problem for some teams. I'm hoping we can get to at least the quarterfinals. However, in terms of stats, once again, our front three were excellent. Bullock got 28 goals and 13 assists. Jacobs got 20 and 9. Elvin 18 and 6. And 2 players from central midfield were good as well, in Samaras and Guzman. I think heading into season number 7, we have got a very good team on paper, and our players are actually performing. So we have arrived in season number 7 and we've got £80 million in the bank. And the starting 11's very strong, lads. Most of our players are away at the current World Cup. We will have one scour of the free agents list, just see who's available, but I'm not expecting to bring anyone in. One quick check of the free agents list ain't going to hurt anyone, is it? So lads, we did say we weren't planning on signing anyone in this transfer window. Might have changed my mind when I seen that Alfie Divine was available on a free contract. He's 25 years old, 83 rated. His stats are insane. I'm going to have to make him my starting centre attacking midfielder, aren't I, boys? He's so good. And also drop back and play central midfield as well. I'm really excited about this signing. And we've also had 4 first team players leave the club in Charlie Savage, Elliot Hobson, William Chapman and Michael Craig. We've raised around £50 million for the club, which is really good money. All these players are on big wages and are no longer part of our first team plans, so we've sold them to keep the squad morale high. So Alfie Divine will be the only incoming of season number 7. This will be the starting 11 that takes us into the new season, and this team is now locked in. By the end of the season, I'm expecting to have at least 4 90 rated players in our starting 11. I think Samaras, Kelvin, Bullock and Jacobs could all reach the magic 90 rated. And with a bench as strong as that, with all the players we've got in the reserves as well, our squad's well-rounded, good, young and hungry to win trophies. Now, to be honest with you lads, there's not really much more we can do but simulate forward straight through to the end of the season. With a squad as good as ours, we should be looking at winning some trophies again this season. So we have arrived at the end of season number 7, lads, and finally we have won our first Premier League trophy of the rebuild, finishing on 80 points, 4 points clear of second place Chelsea, and Reading are officially the champions of England, and that is another trophy added to our trophy cabinet. However, the champions of England would go on to be knocked out in the FA Cup 3rd round by a club we will be rebuilding very soon. But something has happened that might just make up for that. That's right, lads, we're actually in the Champions League final and we're going to be taking on PSG. We had an excellent showing in the league phase, finishing 3rd on 17 points, 2 points off the top, meaning we went straight into the round of 16, where we would beat Bayer Leverkusen 4-3 over 2 very close legs. In the quarterfinals, we would take on Chelsea and beat them 3-2 over 2 legs, winning the second leg 2-1. This would then set up a tie against Liverpool in the semi-finals, and we would batter them 6-2 in the second leg to win the tie 7-4, set up a tie with PSG to win the Champions League trophy. And this is the team we are going to be taking into a Champions League final, and this team is incredible on paper. 6 90 rated players in our starting 11, which is absolutely insane. The only real weak point is in our right back position in Papadopoulos, who was injured for a lot of the season. We have got an excellent bench as well, lads. So many options, a few players over 80 rated as well. I'm really confident we're going to have a stronger squad on paper than PSG going into the final. And in terms of stats this season, Bullock was our best player, scoring 27 goals, getting 7 assists, but Kelvin, Jacobs and Divine were all excellent as well. We have really performed this season, and it's clear to see all we've got to do now is perform one more time in the Champions League final, and this rebuild is complete. So here we go, boys, live from the Estadio de Benfica, Reading versus PSG. Quick scour through the PSG team, and their team is absolutely stacked, to be fair, and a really strong squad, but I do think our squad is slightly better as we've got more 90 rated players. Oh dear. This could be 1-0 PSG. Big save in the first 5 minutes. We're half an hour in, lads. We've had one chance in the game, and it was PSG's golden chance, to be fair. We've not really created anything. Getting played off the park a bit here. Oh no. Could be 1-0. It's 1-0 to PSG. Dia Yongge, I think that's how you pronounce his name, has just scored. It's a defensive disaster class, to be fair. And you know what, lads, on the balance of playing this first half, that's probably deserved. We've been really poor. We've been giving the ball away. Can we have one last chance though before half time? Alpha Divine in a bit of space. That's a good burst of pace by Alpha Divine. Got to finish it. It does, lads. It's 1-1. Instant response from Reading. Nice passing move. We get Divine in one-on-one and he makes no mistake. Great ball from Bullock to Divine. Beats his man for pace and then just rolls it into the bottom corner. Really good finish, to be fair. So 1-1 heading into the second half. 2 goals in the stroke of half time. Good ball. Kelvin. 1-2 with Bullock. That's really good football. Kelvin. Big chance. Puts in. That's a good turn. Near post. What a goal by Kelvin. It's 2-1 to Reading. Brilliant build-up play, and then the man who's been here since the League One days fires the Royals into the lead. It's a brilliant chop inside, couple of touches, and then absolute rocket into Donnarumma's near post. And it all looked doom and gloom in the 43rd minute when we went 1-0 behind. We are now 2-1 up before the 60th minute. Come on, the Royals. Gavi's in, and he's missed. Oh my god. That is a massive, massive moment in this final. Gavi on the 75th minute. What a tackle by Hilton, clear it. And there is the full-time whistle, lads. We have won the Champions League with Reading without signing anyone for cash. And from facing extinction to winning the Champions League and Premier League, Reading are saved. And all that is left to do, boys, is lift the Champions League trophy for Reading. What a rebuild this has been. And Reading are not only the champions of England, but the champions of Europe as well. That's another rebuild successfully boxed off. I just want to say a massive thank you for watching the video, boys. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it does really help me out. And I will see you next week when we attempt our first ever realistic rebuild.